Hey there, you mean DC fans? Welcome. And if you are new, I am Mantis, and today we're going to get into another issue of Absolute Batman, number 10. We last looked off Absolute Batman where Bruce had been captured by Bane after he had found the underground Arkham lab. This issue kicks off a month, or sorry, this issue kicks off in the month of June, excuse me, with Jim and Martha discussing the whereabouts of Bruce, and Martha is, worried. Of course, it's her son. She doesn't know where he's at. Didn't tell him or didn't tell her where he was going, just like kids do. Um, but next, we see Bruce, is unconscious as a doctor records her observations of test subject number 27, or Bruce, stating his stature and costume removal, including several concealed protective and offensive weapons like sedation pellets, gas pellets, poison pellets, a full lock kit, blades, etc. All the fun stuff, which all these some likely surgically implanted in Bruce, because you can see all the patches on him, and concealed to use if he's captured. She's very confident all of them had been extracted and he would be out for another 48 hours. Bruce regains consciousness and removes a needle or pin that he had in the roof of his mouth and lock picks the room lock, which I'm going to pause right here and just say, why in this high tech facility full of scientists and technology do you have a physical lock? Why is it not key cards or electronic, voice activated, something? Why is it a physical lock? Stupid bad guys. Anyway, as a naked Bruce races through level 246, he passes multiple experiments. One of them named Hellfern experiment, likely referring to Carl Hellfern, aka Dr. Death, which I'm just guessing there. I'm assuming that's the case. As well as a transmutation and plasticity experiment. The doctor is observing Bruce traverse through the level as she's logging all the moves, kind of with the eye in the sky security system, I'm assuming. And as he moves, citing he's possibly en route to the clay biome, which the transmutation and plasticity, I'm thinking Clayface, obviously, and they spell Klay biome. So, and you can kind of tell this Arkham facility is really the Absolute Universe's version of Arkham Asylum, with all of the caged baddies that are here. We see Bruce stepping on arms and legs and faces on the ground as one of the faces says, "It hurts bad." As Bruce is trying to keep all the hands from grabbing him, a
Hello again.
is spoken from above Bruce. He gets kicked in the head by Bane, or the Prime, as Doctor calls him. Bane loves this game as he talks to himself to keep trying. Like,
Keep trying, please.
next, we have a flashback of Waylon and Bruce having a good run in Gotham, spilling into a good old Rocky training montage, referencing Waylon asking Bruce to train him from an earlier issue. Well, remember when we saw both Selena and Bruce kind of making out on their bed, and Waylon shows up asking him to train him. We get to see also here Bilbo. I keep saying Bilbo. It's Bebo. I know you're gonna say yes, it is Bill Bebo. I'm gonna say Bebo. I'm gonna say Bibbo because there's no E in it. So we'll just go with Bibbo. We get to see Bibbo destroying his opponent on the TV, as Waylon is saying, he really wants to fight him. He's coming for him. So fast forward now from June to July. So we can assume here that Bruce has been in captivity for a month at this point. Martha has gone to City Hall to plead her case to DA Harvey Dent, trying to seek some type of help from the city or help from the police, district attorney's office, to try and help find Bruce. And Harvey says he's doing everything he can to find Bruce. And we flash to Bruce. After a month in captivity, the doctor notes that he's stopped eating, so they had to insert a feeding tube. He seemed to not care about the cleaning of his cells, the bat droppings guano that he was cleaning up previously. He's just kind of stopped doing that. Didn't care. It doesn't care anymore. And the doctor had assumed that the subject had become docile and falling into total submission. Well, the doctor's wrong again, as during one of the cleaning sessions, Bruce was acting the whole time, putting on a performative experience for everyone. And then as the staff are coming, he front kicks one of them directly in the jaw, sending them flying backwards. Bruce had also extracted several of his own teeth and put them into his hand bandages, almost using them as you would kind of like brass knuckles on his fist. And one of the staff then tries to plead for his own life, but Bruce had adjusted his stomach feeding tube and modified it to spray raw stomach acid and sprayed it all over this dude's face, like bubbling up his face from the acid, which wouldn't happen, but it's cool. Bruce had even collected all the guano from all those bats.
Guano balls. Collect the whole set.
That I mentioned before, kind of shitting all over the room. He collected all of that and put it inside the toilet and pissed on it for about a couple weeks, and created a highly flammable compound. They said similar to gunpowder, which of course he used to blow a hole in the cell wall to escape. Running again now through level 246, he passes the Hellfern glass again, but whatever was in there was out of its egg-like pod and nowhere to be found. Bruce, out of breath, screams, "Go to hell," knowing whoever his captors were, they were for sure watching it. Traversing Arkham, Bruce cuts off his path as he's running with explosives so that anyone that would be chasing him can't really follow and cover his tracks. And he falls off all the tracking scans that the doctor or any of the security would be using to track him. Arriving at what seems like a forest of dead or dying trees. They're kind of brown or whatever. He screams hello, which of course no one answers. And he decided walking through he might need a little rest and sits down next to one of the trees. However, it's not before long he notices eyes and teeth and a face in the tree. Jumping up, trying to get away, he can't, and he becomes restrained by the limbs. They reach out and grab onto him. The doctor knows where he's at this point, indicating the Isley ecosystem as a location. Of course, a nod to Poison Ivy here. A ghastly figure approaches Bruce, saying the figure says, "Out. The green wants out. Let us out." And so it's funny because it says the green wants out, but they're really not green. They are kind of like red brownish. And the creeping red vines lunge out of the figure's mouth and dive into Bruce's, grabbing a hold of him, grabbing his eyelids, stretching them. But before any damage could be done, a familiar voice utters,
Hey there.
Bane's on the scene as he grabs its head, ripping it from its body, and then begins pummeling Bruce once again with punches. Next, we see a flashback of Selina pulling the slide of her handgun back, telling Bruce to get up from the couch, watching his computer or whatever he was doing at that time. And she's like, "It's time to go." Wanting to go rob some art, it seems. However, Bruce can't, as he's doing homework for Bibbo for Wayland for the upcoming fight he has with him. Selina begs Bruce to tell Wayland the truth that he doesn't have a chance of beating Bibbo. After another month passes, and Martha has still not given up on Bruce yet. She's out there roaming the streets, placing photos and posters of Bruce around the town, around Gotham, and trying to get someone to call her with some good news. Of course, speaking of Bruce, we're back in the Arkham, 90 days in the facility. He's changed a little bit. The doctor's report saying he's had 2 weeks of surgeries and survived the full cycle, unlike the previous 26 subjects. Apparently, they altered his body with a craniotomy and brainstem insertion. Even after all of this, his will still wasn't broken, or at least the doctor thought. So they're going to test that too, as they lower Batman's costume into the cell. Bruce turns from it saying, "Just leave me alone." Talking to himself now, he says, "Stop it. It's over. There's no winning." Then Bruce turns back, staring at his suit, and it stares right back. Next, we see Bruce, now as Batman, burst through the wall and start walking the halls again. Also being observed by scientists from the facility, he sees strange creatures saying, "Help us." However, these seem to be demons or something, creatures like manifesting as Bruce's own psyche. At least that's the way I took it. We quickly flash back to Wayland and Bruce mid-sparring session as Wayland asks Bruce, "I can win, right?" To which Bruce doesn't really answer him in that scene. Batman does, however, answer the creature saying, "I don't know how to help you." And they respond, "Then make it stop." Bane helps Batman out of his mental breakdown with a sharp kick to the face, though, saying, "I knew you had more in you." Bane continues, "We're more alike than you know. I'm trying to save you the pain I went through. It'll take more pain now, but you'll thank me in the end. Bane proceeds to beat the living hell out of Batman and punches him in to and through one of the glass panes of the experiments. Bane rambling on about surviving life by being the most adapt, which he pauses mid sentence because he noticed which pane of glass he had broken. Just then, Killer Croc dives headfirst into Bane, knocking him over, and then a tail whip knocking him backwards for good measure. Two of the scientists speak in disbelief, "Oh no," as Bane squashes them, killing, as he lands on them, killing them. The other two trying to escape are just like, nope, we got to leave. But they don't get too far as Croc turns and eats both of them in one chomp. Bruce, turning towards the massive monster, Croc says, Waylon? Like he kind of tries to recognize him there. Croc turns and approaches Batman, and Batman says, Way? It's me, Bruce. They're trying to get some sort of communication, anything out of him. Croc grabs Batman face to face, and then we get a small flashback of Bruce telling Waylon that he can win against Bibbo. He's Waylon Croc Jones. Waylon understands clearly as Batman jumps atop Waylon like a dragon, saying, now let's get the fuck back into the ring. Bane, stumbling to gain his footing, explains the saying about adapting was from Xenophon Corinth. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. Athens, circa 400 BC. Batman responds, shove it up your ass. That's Batman circa now. Croc lets out a screech as they escape into the sewers. The Doctor walks over to Bane, asking him if he's excited for the final phase, to which Bane responds,
Very excited, Dr. Arkham, because now I truly get to break him.
and to be continued. I'm assuming this is going to go on. Bane's going to try and find Croc and Batman and try to break him. But I thought this issue was fantastic. Again, you get to see the Arkham Asylum, essentially the absolute versions of Arkham Asylum, and you can kind of deduce that from the other inmates there. Although Bruce looked kind of messed up with all the surgeries they'd done to him. He's not looking too hot right now, so we'll see if that he stays like that through the rest of the comic series. But let me know in the comments what you all think. Did you like this issue? Do you like where this is going? I think this is probably the best issue of. I keep saying that, like it continually gets better and better. This issue was awesome. Shows all of the cool gadgets and surgeries that Batman had, did to himself, and planting all these things, and they found all that out, and the effectiveness and basically MacGyvering that he did to escape. But yeah, let me know. Let us know in the comments below where you think this is going to go. Also, do not forget to hit the notification bell and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't. If you made it this far, why haven't you subscribed? You should be subscribed. We're releasing all of the absolute issues that we can do that are out there right now. All of them are fantastic. So check those out on the channel. As well as we just did release a couple videos on the new Superman movie. So check those out as well. And also, please and thank you guys for all the subscribers recently. We had kind of a jump here recently. We do appreciate everyone that has subscribed. We hope you continue to like our content. And until next time, later.